Who here is praying for carnage in round 25? There's a little bit in this one, but who's praying for it in round 25? Pop your hands up. I'm going to say yes, just because it'd be fun. I know it's obviously from the top for you guys. They probably don't want too much carnage, especially if you're winning this whole comp. The boys at the top, the amateur boys. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Round 24, we have a return from this big man here, Jerome Luai, which spells some issues for our teams, especially with Mr. Jamin Salmon, who's going to be missing out. So we'll start with that one, obviously, as the breaking news, but we'll go through the Broncos and the Eels. And this one, there's really not too much to say. Really, the guys that you'd be looking at potentially using, bring in for your last trade. Obviously, Brown and Moses are playing well. Broncos are falling away, so I would be looking to avoid those types of players, but potentially guys like, obviously, if you don't have Papali'i, Lane obviously had a bit of a quiet one, but Moses and Dylan Brown probably your ways home. In that one, if you're looking for a half, Panthers v Warriors, I spoke about Jerome Luai coming back, so we just completely lose Jamin Salmon out from the squad completely. And there's a few things in this one. We have that one there, Eisenhuth moving to the bench with James Fisher-Harris back. From the Warriors side, Dayton Arcee's out for those who brought him in, which is pain. Josh Curran moves to second row, so hopefully we get some big minutes from him with Jack Murchie going out. And Dunamis Louis is on the bench for Jack Murchie with him being out. So that's that on that game. If we're looking at certain players, again, we're probably worried that we'll get some resting from potentially Isaiah Yeo in 25. So just be looking to potentially avoid him, even if he's scoring so well. I doubt he's going to be playing 80 minutes in this game anyway, so I wouldn't be looking to really dive into him in this one. And on the Warriors, really no one clearly to pick up in this one here. If you're looking at the O'Sullivan-Luai situation, O'Sullivan will still score well, so Luai will play a very similar role to what Jamin Salmon does, and probably run the ball a similar amount and demand it maybe a slightly more, but still O'Sullivan's going to be doing everything in his power to do well. Stephen Crichton is an interesting one there this week as well. For the Storm side, Kafusi's back, so we're not going to see Nelson on that edge anymore, which is unfortunate for anyone who's looking to pick him up. Just be aware of that. Kamakamika goes back to the bench. We've got potential out or in for Xavier Coates, and it's really all we need to say on the Storm side. We've got Lindsay Collins and Takao back from their concussion and cheekbone injuries, which is awesome for the Roosters. They're needing that, even though they'll need it for the finals. They don't really need it for the next two games, but considering this is a pretty tough one, it will help them in this one. But I just mean they're really, really important for the final series with how crazy informed the team's in at the moment. It's not a big worry, obviously. But, Nelson moves to the starting side. If you're looking for anyone in the Storm team, it's really Munster and Brandon Smith and Grant. They're the three you'd be looking at if you want to play one guy or use that one trade. For the Roosters, obviously, Teddy, Manu, Sammy Walker's been really killing it of recent time. And then Crichton, Butcher, and Radley all had solid ones. So this one will be a closer tussle, and I think those middle forwards will be important. Just minutes-wise, going to be interesting because they have four really big-minute interchange guys at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that one. For the Raiders, they stay solid with their team. We see Vega, I'm not sure how to say that one yet, who comes in onto the wing. In this one, Brad Parker's in there with Morgan Harper as well. So really, again, not too much to say for the Manly boys. Davey comes back, so if you're sitting with him on your bench, that's good news for you. But guys like Adam Elliott is a slight worry. I know a few people are thinking about moving him on this week, and look, I understand that. 2 light games in a row, 50-odd minutes, not ideal. So he's someone that I understand if you're looking to move on, but I just think you've got to move players on who are injured on, just not playing, been dropped or something, rather than guys that are, playing solidly, obviously, before this last 2 weeks. So that's that for that game with the Sharks Dogs. So it's going to be the last home game for Andrew Fafita, which is a little bit sad. So it sounds like he wants to play on, but it will probably be somewhere else in maybe a 30 to 40 minute role. Like he's played a pretty good role this year and obviously a cult figure at the Sharks. So sad to see him move on. But in terms of the rest of their team, there's not too much to talk about apart from Mr. Talakai returning, which is great for anyone who owns him, but I doubt anyone would, and you wouldn't really like to bring him in. Connor Tracy goes out. And for the Dogs, they need a bounce back, right? Luke Thompson is back into the starting side. He's going to play lock this one, and Josh Jackson moves to the second row. Davida Pangai goes out. So that's not ideal for anyone who owns him. He's had a weird season, hey. Bunnies v Cowboys, super excited for this one. We're looking for a bounce back from a couple of weeks ago against a tough team for the Cowboys, and the Bunnies on a nice roll, but obviously lost last week. So I'm kind of hoping or wishing they won so that this one they wouldn't be raring to go and trying to push really hard for that top 4 spot, which looks like it's probably impossible to get at this point. But Rabbitohs guys you'd be looking at are obviously just Latrell, Cook, and Murray. I think this is going to be a bounce back game for someone like Cam. We'll probably play some big minutes this week and very limited minutes, or not play in next week's games. Just think of that if you're looking to play him. Drinkwater moves to 6, so we see Dearden looks like we'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping so we can have him back for the finals, and Drinky back at 1. But the Hammer will play in the 1 position for that week. Ruben Cotto in the starting side, he might move back to the bench again. Lucy Lua in that starting side again, but again, he might move with Gilbert. But really, Cotto, I think, will have a big game in this one. I'm expecting some bigger minutes for him, and maybe a little bit of a slowdown next week as well. I'm very sad to see Jackson Paulo has been omitted, obviously, for how he played last week, but it would be nice to see him get another crack to try and rectify what happened last week. And the death threats and stuff through the week have been disgusting. So if you're any of those guys, not welcome in this channel. Obviously, we're here for being critical of performance, but never any abuse. So not good for what happened there with Jackson. But I hope that he's doing okay in that one. We're interested to see Mr. Hammer at the fullback position. Tigers, we got Garner out, Mamalo. Wasn't James Tamalolo? Interesting. Alex Seyfarth, shoulder all out. So we got Punga coming on the wing. We got Freebarn starting in the second row. So if you picked him up at that cheap price, you're absolutely cheering. In this one, Offa moves to prop. Farman and Brown moves to lock. Simpkins, the new hooker. Little and the debutant Katonga is on the bench as well. So very interesting. Lou Brooks is still not back. Bird moving from lock to centre is probably the biggest thing here, with Mbai being suspended. So not what you want with how well he was playing. So very, very annoying for all Bird owners. Hopefully he still scores well for you. And we move to Titans v the Knights. And again, not too much to talk about here. We got Frizz and Saifidi back. Both had COVID late on that last day there, which was annoying for him. And Brevin Best just out constantly. We'll see how Philip Sami goes with his concussion protocol, and really not too much to talk about other than that. There's really no one in this team other than David Fafita that you would pick up, to be honest with you. So that's probably it in this video that I would want to talk about. Jaden Brayley's only a sneaky one at that interesting price that would work. So that's that video, guys. Hope you enjoyed that team list, and hopefully there's a little bit of carnage next week. We'll make it a bit fun to go through as well. But that's it. See you later, guys.